Hello and welcome to the very latest CADS podcast, hangout, whatever we want to call it. I believe this is episode number 8, and I provisionally titled this one "Much Ado About Nothing." And I have to say, when I was thinking of that, I was thinking transfer talk, because absolutely nothing happened. We've got two people with us tonight, just two. Andreas, do you want to say hello?
Well, hello there.
And as I
Hello.
said, two people, a third one joined us. And so we're going to add Matt. How you doing, Matt?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
And where are you? Because you're not in your usual sunny
I
market, are
am
you?
in sunny Switzerland. I'm
Sunny
in,
Switzerland.
in Lausanne today.
Okay. And we've just had Marcel join us. Hello, Marcel.
Hello there. Hang on. Just reconnecting. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hopefully the others can.
Yep.
Right. Hello.
All right, so there we go. So, yes, I'm not sure what we want to talk about first. The game was just finished. Tottenham won 3-0. I quite enjoyed the game. There was a bit of a worrying moment in there where things started to go a little bit against us. Not in terms of the scoreline, but in terms of the pace of the game, the way it was going. It looked like Norwich were starting to take control. How do people think the game went?
Well, I'm pretty happy with it. I thought it went very well. I think when you're 2-0 up, you're going to want to sort of take the pace out of the game. I can understand it's a long season, why Poch would want us to move into sort of trying to control the pace of the game, control the game, rather than knock ourselves out. So I have no problem with how that went. I thought we were, they're always going to try and pick up the pace and Marcel's off. We're always going to, I always get very distracted when someone's doing, what is that on his jumper? Is that a bear? I can't tell what that was.
And normally, it's normally not Marcel, wandering away that distracts you. It's normally, no, it's normally Panit in his car driving somewhere going to play football.
Right, yeah. Well, I've totally lost my thread there. Yeah, I think that Norwich came out of the traps pretty well in the second half. So fair play. They responded in the second half at least. They were just really, really poor in the first half. I thought that Norwich were just not really in the game at all. But I have to say that referee, I'm not usually likely to give praise to a ref, but I mean, it was biased towards us to a slightly bizarre degree. I mean, I thought that both penalty shouts could have gone the other way. We might not have had a penalty. They could have had a penalty. And that last goal at the end there, so while it's fresh in my mind, Ericsson went through the back of the Norwich player. Surely.
No, the Norwich player left enough place for Ericsson to knock the ball through. I had the obligatory leg movement. I don't know why I did the leg movement because none of you can see it. But
I could see the way you were shaping there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I thought he caught him. I mean, he may have gotten the ball, but it's still a tackle from behind. I don't know. I thought we got off. Am I the only one who thinks that then?
Both ways, to be honest.
Sorry?
Bit both ways. We had a couple of nudges in the box as well that weren't given, so you could moan about those. But
I'll be honest and admit I didn't see our penalty. I didn't see the first bit of the game, and I went to make a sandwich when Kane scored the final goal. So
You had a good evening then.
So I've only seen Norwich dominating us basically. But the two penalty shouts that Norwich had, I wouldn't have given them either.
Two.
To be honest,
I only remember one.
They had two shouts.
Well, I remember the one on the shoulder, which was sort of when Wimmer went through the guy a little bit when the ball was dropping, and so I thought that was not a penalty, but barely less of a penalty than our one. Didn't think either were really.
Yeah, again, I can't comment on our one, but the Wimmer one was just basically competing for the ball, and if you have to give those, you'll end up blowing the whistle all the entire match. And the same with the Walker incident, where he's getting pulled down and where he's leaning into the attacker as well.
That's never a penalty.
No, exactly.
That was a foul on Walker to me.
Yeah. And got called.
I was looking at the BBC reporting on it as well because I've got my usual free computer set up here, and I was watching the game and just quickly checking back and forth on what the BBC had to say about it. And after that, the Basong one where Was it Basong? The one where Wimmer got the ball. Anyway, they said the difference between the two penalties was Wimmer got the ball and Basong didn't, and that's why one was given and the other one wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't think the one against Basong was a foul. Sorry, the one against Wimmer was a foul, but I did think that Ali got fouled by Basong, so I could see why it went that way. Although, it was very nice to have a friendly referee.
Well, his name is Friend, isn't it?
Kevin Friend, yes.
Apparently the Norwich fans were singing Kevin Friend, he's one of their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll take more of that for the rest of the season. Thank you very much.
He is a pretty poor ref, though.
Generally, I think we've had him a few times, and he's been pretty crap at times. But this was,
And
in fact, I think now probably Norwich fans are saying what we would normally say, which is he was pretty crap.
Yeah, I think it was just a sufficient number of decisions that could have gone either way went our way.
Yeah.
So I can understand why. I'd be annoyed if I was a Norwich fan. Sure. So Punit's definitely in the house by the looks of it.
But it sounds like
we're joined by Panit's ceiling at the moment.
It sounds like he's fizzling something. Right?
I think he's on a UFO.
It looks eerily like the UFO pictures from Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have our resident UFO man in tonight, don't we? What is he doing?
It's not helping it at all. Now we've got one light instead of three.
I can just now see that WhoScored.com has named Fraser Forster as man of the match in the Arsenal-Southampton game with a 9.79 out of 10.
Wow, that's a hell of a score.
He must have had like 1 million shots to save.
I was trying to follow the discussion, the text updates on the Arsenal game, and apparently he was pretty incredible. We were just watching the Jamie Vardy goal, by the way, which is currently available on your friendly CADS website, and it's a screamer.
It was a very good goal. I'm not sure if that's going to be goal of the season because I think Ali's one against Palace is going to easily walk that one.
Ali Pally?
Yeah, Ali Pally against Palace. Yeah. Because that was a brilliant goal.
It's going to have to be called the Ali Pally from now on, yeah.
Well, Arsenal had 21 shots against 14 from Southampton, so it wasn't that much of a slaughter, was it?
No, not really.
Do you know how many
on target instead, if we talk about on target shots, it's 11 shots against 3. And only one of those 11 shots come from outside the box. So it's Foster has had some saves to make, and he had 10 saves, which is quite incredible.
Yeah, if you look at the corner count, Arsenal had 13 corners, Southampton had 3.
Yeah,
I think that tells you that Arsenal must have been fairly dominant in that match.
Maybe
Obviously, I didn't watch.
Maybe so, but they still allowed them to have 14 pops a goal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man City, though, looked like they got away with it.
Yeah, they won 1-0, didn't they?
They were under the cosh at the end.
I must stress one point, though, on that Arsenal thing, and a lot of our fans, on our site even, are always complaining about Spurs' conversion rates and converting to goals. There's a classic example. It's not just us.
Our conversion rate is about 10%, 10.85%, so about 11%. That was before this game.
Yeah.
And if we look at Arsenal's conversion rate,
10.2 before this game.
There's some competition for stat man.
And now 15.
There's a stat off going on here. So I'd be interested to see a conversion rate table. If anyone, I understand that's going to be pretty dull podcasting.
You're trying to start a fight here, Matt, aren't you?
Yeah, go on, quickly.
Do you want a table? I've got a bit of.
It's off.
Yeah, here you go. I'll. Yeah, there you go. Picture it's not a table, but it's a look overview of 21 stats on conversions, on shots on target, and how many goals on all shots, how many goals on target shots, And how many percent of shots are on target?
You've lost me, mate. Lost me totally. Give me
Lost
simple.
me at table.
Actually, our worst conversion rate is when we have a shot on target. But
don't shoot on target.
Don't shoot on target. Just shoot for the.
Right. Okay.
Just shoot.
Aim the other way.
Actually, we force the most saves in that regard. But we are actually one of the teams that converts most often when we shoot. Just shoot. So yeah.
Okay.
If you're not going to convert, you don't shoot. I don't get
that. I've got a conversion rate for Arsenal of 10.79%, so slightly worse than us. 0.06 worse than us.
I got them at 10.2.
Difficult to know what that means with that context. I mean, I guess teams like Spurs and Arsenal.
And we just lost Matt. My conversion rate. My conversion rate is worked out at shots divided by goals. So I had how many shots? Arsenal had 122 shots on target and had scored. Where's the scoring rate? 37 goals this season. So,
we have the most, don't we? Shots on target.
I believe we have the most shots on target. Yeah.
And among the highest in Europe as well.
Yeah, we have more than Barcelona, more than Real Madrid.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Barcelona faff around with the ball too much, don't they?
Yeah, but they're not a bad side to be compared to, are they?
Yeah, that Messi bloke, all he does is faff around, doesn't he?
Exactly.
Going back to Man City, by the way.
Norwich were very poor today, though. I don't know how Liverpool conceded 4 goals against them. They were very poor.
Well, Liverpool are very poor.
Yeah, of course, but 4 goals against this side is very, very bad.
Yeah, on that Man City game, by the way, Sunderland had 11 shots to Man City's 6.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and
Sunderland picked up. They've got a bit better this year. So
possession was about 50-50 as well. So Man City aren't. I'm just wondering whether the news that Pellegrini's going is going to affect them.
I think with Man City, we need to hope that Aguero.
I just have to ask, is someone lecturing themselves?
Yeah, there's a bashing noise.
Yes, that sounds like someone's.
They're either carving some wood or carving some wood.
I mean, I like stats, but I don't like him that much.
It was a bit worrying, wasn't it? Yeah. You start talking about stats, there's a sudden rhythmic banging noise.
I think it's Matt knocking at the door.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Welcome back, Matt.
What about on?
Yeah, Matt's going to have to watch the video because otherwise it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope the sound made it on the video, by the way.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
It was either Stuart or Andreas grinding their teeth at each other's stats, basically.
The stat of, yeah. So hang on. So I think we actually did pretty well tonight. I think we reasonably impressed. Certainly the first half, I thought we were by far the better side. It sounds like other sides have not done quite so well tonight. Liverpool struggled.
I tell you what, Dele Alli, if he was ill at half time, scoring a goal and winning a penalty, it's not bad going, is it, for someone who's ill?
It's not bad, indeed. Yeah.
And in regards to what we discussed earlier about leaving the match to Norwich and just controlling the pace of the match and everything, I don't think at any point that Norwich actually became dangerous in when we let them play, and we actually had some really, really good counters, which actually I see as quite promising, because we'll if we are to rely on counter attacks, it's nice to know that we are able to go through with them.
I think there was a period where Norwich started to look a bit dangerous. Bimmer was giving away some free kicks, giving away some fouls, and then Naismith had a header that went like a foot wide.
Yeah,
so
that was good.
They had chances.
Yeah, there was something briefly just before the Naismith header as well. I can't remember what it was. They had a chance.
Yeah, and Carney had a chance at.
It was goal disallowed, but it wasn't anything.
No.
You know,
Naismith came very very close.
Good
So
player.
I think
works hard.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, this is it's an aberration, right? It's a 5-minute aberration. The rest of the game was all Spurs, really. I mean,
Ericsson played well.
I'm not sure if everyone
depends what you ask. A lot of people were complaining about Ericsson.
Ericsson played really well today.
I have a stat for once. Ericsson, I saw flashed up on the screen that Ericsson has run more than any other Spurs player about 75 minutes into the game.
1 mile, right?
Yeah, run 1 mile further.
In the first 5 minutes.
75 minutes.
So what did he do for the rest?
Not bad going, Marcel.
No, on 75 minutes, Marcel, he had run more than any other Spurs player.
Right. I think his touch was so bad.
I think he does put in a lot of work. He doesn't necessarily put in a challenge when he gets there.
No, that's annoying.
Yeah. He did well against Olsen today, though.
I mean, I thought it was right. I did. I mean, to me, certainly the first half, I thought Kane was the outstanding player. I think overall he was probably our man of the match. Just the way the ball was sticking and just making his layoffs, he was causing all kinds of problems for Norwich. They couldn't handle him at all. But yeah, we had a lot of good performances. So I mean, 3-0. I think that's a fair reflection of the way the game went. I thought we were comfortably the better.
Kane hit the post twice as well, right?
Yeah.
Could have been.
And he got 2 more goals, so he's 4 goals off the top scorer in the league at the moment. Because Vardy got
Vardy
1.
got 2 as well, didn't he? So
I thought Vardy got 1 today.
No, he got 2. He got
still 5 off the top then.
Goal difference, by the way, guys. Goal difference.
Amazing.
Plus 25.
20 for 2 goals clear.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
There is
10 goals ahead of Arsenal.
Yeah, and 2 points. There is a train of thought in the world of stats that says that goals scored almost directly relates to the winners of the league. It's almost always the team that scores the most goals wins the league. So I'm not sure. Are we the highest goal scorers, or are we just got the best goal difference?
Oh, goals scored. Sorry, not goal difference. All right, interesting.
We've definitely got the best goal difference. I'm just not sure in terms of goals scored.
City's got in the world. That's available on any league table. I'm disappointed.
City's got 46 goals and we got 44 together with Leicester.
Yeah.
And then we've got Everton at 40. Everton in 12th place is the 4th place team in goals for.
There's always an aberration.
Yeah.
Is that up to date? I'm not sure that's up to date, is it?
Might not be.
No, tell a lie. No, you're quite right. I can see it now.
You just know that we're going to be the first team to score the most goals and not win the league, don't
you? It would kind of be fitting.
Finish outside the top 4, right,
yeah, exactly.
Well, we are the only side in history to have finished 4th and been denied a place in the Champions League by another side winning the Champions League place.
Right.
So the only side in history, because they've now done away with that rule. We will always be the only side to have done that.
So we also didn't we finished, what was it, on 70 points once? I think we have the highest points total not to be in the top 4.
74, I think it was, wasn't it?
Andre Villas-Boas season, yeah.
Well, then again, Liverpool a few years ago actually made an even worse stat, which was the highest amount of points for a non-winner in the Premier League. It was something like you would have won the Premier League every single year except for that year.
That's when they had Alonso and
I think we're on course for the lowest points total for the Premier League winner.
Yeah, because normally the number of points before this game they said the number of points that Leicester had and they were in the lead, that would effectively put them in 4th place for pretty much any other season. And they'd probably be a good 7 points behind the leaders. So.
Long may it continue. Sounds good to me. But I think that we can talk about strong teams dropping away, but I think there's a deeper question here because the league itself is just stronger. I think the difference between the very top and the very bottom of the league is just narrowed. And I think this is partly due to TV money coming in, the expectation of extra TV money, and Stoke spending 80 million on a player. For goodness sake, I mean,
Well, if we're going to talk stats and we're going to talk transfers, as one I heard today, I think it was on Guardian Weekly, they said that Newcastle spent more in this transfer window than all of the Bundesliga clubs combined.
And La
And
Liga.
Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what?
That's nuts.
What?
And they made a £21 million offer for Berahino, so it could have got even worse.
Which just goes to show we should be raiding those leagues.
I don't know, because
Soldado's pretty good.
Don't, Penny, don't.
he likes us, doesn't he? Isn't he a fan?
Soldado.
The problem we're going to have after this transfer window, I think this transfer window was the last time you could effectively buy someone, even though it would have cost us more. It's the last time you could have bought someone for somewhere near their market value. Because next season, everyone's going to be getting, £100 million from the league for the TV deals. And so every European club is going to be saying, well, let's just stick another 15 million on a transfer fee for whatever player they want.
But I think the reality is that people see that coming, right? So it doesn't just go up.
It's already gone up. Yeah.
I mean, it's already gone up because people can see that you can start spending this money now because it's guaranteed income.
I mean, who's heard of that Everton player that they've signed?
Umanias.
Yeah, I'd even forgotten his name already. It's like, who the hell is that arsehole?
Well, Everton do use the Football Manager database to catalogue players, so they're obviously going to find someone obscure, ProZone researched player or whatever.
I think someone's hit the cheat on theirs and bumped up some stats on a couple of players.
Could be quite fun.
I thought the interesting thing was when they brought in Nias, they said this is the replacement for Lukaku. Now, they know something that we don't. Is Lukaku going somewhere? Are we going to be seeing a big move for him in the summer?
Maybe they've just been cover.
Yeah, just they use the word replacement quite a lot, and he's not injured.
Oh well.
Wouldn't read much into that.
No, maybe not. So, something I was asked on Quora today, who do you think had the best or the most effective transfer window of all the Premier League clubs?
Spurs.
I actually think, I would. You know what? Honestly, I would have said Stoke, because I always felt there were one or two players away from actually having a really, really good team, but they've just got battered by Manchester United, and so you can forget that argument.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, but Mbula couldn't play, could he? Because he didn't sign in time.
Yeah, sure, but even still, come on, 3-0 to United, a side that scored 2 goals in the first half for the first time ever this season.
Yeah, not great. I think I said Watford had the best transfer window because they managed to buy players at fairly reasonable amounts of money, and probably every single one of those players is going to go up in value and can be resold later on. And I think that comes down to the Pozzo family. They've got huge experience working in the transfer market.
But I mean, to me, I don't know. It's a sign of having problems even being in the January transfer market. I mean, if you're trying to do work, then you've done something wrong, really. So I mean, it's okay to be picking up the occasional bargain, but usually there aren't bargains, and usually the players that you can get in January you can get for cheaper in summer. You could characterise it as the team that had the best January window is Leicester. Obviously, they'd be mad to sell these players, but at the same time, they could be getting some quite silly offers for these players, and it hasn't started yet. I do wonder what's going to happen to them in the summer, because they're going to get some pretty silly offers.
It could be interesting.
Including Ranieri.
I heard there was somebody said, "Oh, Ranieri to go back to Chelsea in the summer." I thought he wouldn't be that stupid, would he? Go put himself through that again?
I don't think they could do any better.
Oh, Pellegrini's going to be available.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
but
I
then
think
again,
Pellegrini's.
I point you at the table. Leicester 50 points, Manchester City 47. Rest my case, Your Honour.
But Leicester have to play Manchester City again this season, so
I don't. But even it doesn't matter. Just look at the price of the player. I mean, you know,
yeah.
the difference. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Can I pose a question to everyone?
Of course you can.
Okay, Leicester Arsenal coming up at the weekend. Who do you want to win?
A draw.
Well, I suppose we can afford Arsenal to win so long as we do.
I want to play the long game. I want Leicester to win that.
I want Leicester to win because I would even support ISIS 11 against Arsenal.
Well, I'm going to go with Marcel's. I'm going to go with Marcel's choice of team to win, but not obviously. No.
I wasn't saying I hope Arsenal win that. I mean, in general, well, I don't really give a crap about what they do as long as it does Spurs good. But I don't actually know what does Spurs good. That's the harder question for me. What is the best for Spurs here? Because we have to know something about Leicester. None of us know.
We've got to win our games. We've got to win. We've got to concentrate on the game against Watford. We can't start thinking about what other teams can do for us. We've got to win our games. You know, if we win every game till the end of the season, we're going to be champions.
I think you absolutely.
It ain't going to happen.
I think Leicester do.
No, but Leicester could win all their games, couldn't they? We don't have to play them anymore.
Yeah. I think you absolutely can worry about other teams because we're not footballers. So people take every game as it comes. No, footballers have to do that. We don't have to do that. We're fans. We can be interested in whatever we want.
Yes, mate. You can be interested in whatever you want.
I'm on my high horse again, aren't I?
Just a bit.
Does that mean you'll be watching the ISIS 11 against Arsenal with Marcel?
If I can find a stream.
with your ISIS flags?
You could just imagine that, couldn't you? Suddenly you get a knock on the door from the police.
He is from Belgium.
Can I just remind everyone this is getting recorded? So we have on record that Marcel is an ISIS supporter.
Only when they're playing Arsenal.
I think some Photoshop is in order. We could just dangle a little ISIS flag behind Marcel there. It's looking a bit nervous.
Right, Marcel, would you like to say something on record?
Yeah, I still support an ISIS 11 against Arsenal.
Oh, dear me. This could have the highest number of hits that any CADS video has ever had.
So
anyway, back to the transfer window and all the money that's flashing around.
Yeah.
I know exactly where we're going to spend our 100 million next year. I'm sure it's going to be on the stadium.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to say Bale.
He left us.
We'd win the league.
We must be in the black though for a couple of windows now, right? I mean,
we broke even. We broke even on this one. We spent 12.3 million in the summer, and we recouped 12.3 million in January. So we bang on zero spend.
Yeah, but so I'm saying that in the combination of sort of income, right? So you've got whatever it is, 20 million in TV revenue that you could spend on players. So we've got net spend zero, but we have money coming in. But yeah, that must be getting funneled towards the stadium.
Yeah, and I think our wages are pretty much leveled out as well. So, you know, in terms of actual position, we're probably one of the best position sides for the TV money when it starts flowing.
Oh yeah.
So where do you guys stand on the continued drama of have we or have we not stitched ourselves up by not buying a striker? This continues to be a subject of debate. I mean, you know.
I don't think we've stitched ourselves up at all. I think we could have stitched ourselves up by buying somebody we didn't really want. You know, panic buy could have disrupted the whole team. Right. So, and if Poch thinks that we're okay, you've got to trust him. He's done all right so far this season.
I think it's pretty evident that if Poch wanted someone, we would have gotten someone. Right. I think he's got Levy's support at that level right now.
Yeah.
I think it goes both ways as well. I think he supports Levy and Levy supports him. You know, if you're going to listen to the press and listen to what they say, Levy said, you know, we'll go and buy you Wanyama and we'll spend 20 million on a striker and get in someone. But Poch said he didn't want that because Dyer's playing really well, and bringing in Wanyama could slightly disrupt things. But who knows?
I think Team Harvey seems very, very high on Poch's list. So I think gone are the days of the last minute transfers for Spurs, because he's going to be very adamant on making sure he can meet that player and make sure the dynamics work with the rest of the squad, which is not a panic buy scenario. So
the days of panic buys are gone while Poch is here.
I think it's very clearly a team ethic where there's a group of players that he trusts that are a circle with a good team spirit, and he would much rather have adaptable players that can play in various positions and call upon them, rather than having some outside player to sub in for Kane. He would rather let Kane do the job or let Son do the job, and then the guys get to have some more time on the pitch, and they all get fresh enough to have a few minutes in and out. So I think this makes a great deal of sense, even if the players that come in aren't the best possible replacement we can have at centre forward. It's putting the team first. That's the way I see it.
I think the issue was, if you're going to bring someone in, they have to be able to play in kind of the same way that Kane does, and there are very few strikers worldwide that can really do that. You're looking at high-class quality strikers like Karim Benzema, people like that, and I wouldn't want Karim Benzema at the club because he might end up in jail next year. So,
well, that's one example.
Yeah, there's one good reason not to sign him. Hey,
you might get him cheap.
But they got a transfer ban as well,
insurance payout.
They got a transfer ban as well, so Real Madrid aren't going to be selling any players for a while.
Well, that's been held up for another transfer window. Unless everything goes through before the summer, they'll have the summer transfer window as well.
Okay.
So.
And then it'll get swept under the carpet.
No, they're going to have to serve that transfer ban at some point.
They'll have the ban, but it'll be at a convenient time.
Yeah, they'll do what Barcelona did, is they'll stock up on players, and
they'll have their transfer ban between two windows.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, but when Barcelona came back, they signed 77 players in one day. As soon as their ban ended.
No wonder they keep winning if they got that many players on the field.
Well, this is the thing. You're not talking about, at Tottenham, we're talking about Tottenham. But at Real Madrid, Barcelona, you're talking about Real Madrid main team. You're talking about Real Madrid A, Real Madrid B side, Real Madrid C, Castilla. They've got like 6 different sides for at various different levels. They were banned from signing players at any level. So that is gonna hurt when they're banned for 3 consecutive windows or something.
Well, speaking of transfer bans, just a short funny story. Perhaps not funny, but I'll let you decide. My local team just sold a player to a Belgium team, which is owned by a certain man named Vincent Tan, and they immediately loaned him out to Cardiff. So Cardiff has a transfer ban, but because Vincent Tan's other club can buy the player and loan the player to Cardiff, they've actually managed to go around the transfer ban.
Dodgy.
Actually, it's really dodgy, and it has been approved by the FA.
But Fulham had something similar. They were able to loan players in. They couldn't buy anyone, but they could loan players in as long as they weren't spending more than a certain amount on wages, and as long as they had, less than 24 players under the age of 21 or something like that, or 21 players under the age of 24. I think probably sounds more reasonable. So there were reasons why things are allowed. As you said, that is a very dodgy move.
Yeah, it is.
But Spurs have talked about getting club link-ups, and we're supposed to be linked up with Roda, aren't we now? Is it Roda in Holland?
Oh, I can't remember who's the latest one. Real Madrid as well. Yeah, we dumped them.
Our special football friends.
Yeah.
I think these things don't really mean a great deal in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, it meant a lot to Real Madrid.
Well, it was.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite funny then, because we had a couple of Barcelona players come over to the training ground to exchange ideas, also. A couple of weeks ago, didn't we? So it's sort of like shows how.
Well, one of them was Puyol, Carlos Puyol, who was slightly implicated in the whole transfer ban thing. So I'm not sure we're going to take too much information from him. Well, he joined the technical team, didn't he? He was part of the team that signed players, and he was one of those that was involved in signing, I think, boundaries that got them banned. And I believe he actually left Barcelona once when they got banned. And then the other one was Ivan de la Peña, who we were linked to like 15 times during the career.
So would you say we were linked with him more than Damião, or?
Yeah, I think we were linked to him every possible transfer period for a very long time. I hear Damião is now available on a free transfer, or has he gone to Betis or something? So,
He's been around forever, doesn't he? He must be 38 now.
If we still need a striker, Robinho's available.
God.
I think Matt says it all.
Team spirit. Team spirit.
We do not need a striker.
Can you imagine that? Well, that's the thing. Do we need a striker, or are we going to change the way we play?
Well, I think we showed against Monaco that we can play without Kane and get a decent result.
Yeah.
People will say, "Oh, Monaco aren't all that," but hang on, it was a test. We passed it with flying colours. And I think that's the way Poch would go if anything happens.
I think there's going to be an element of false nine about a team without Kane. But that's no great problem. It's an interesting option. It's one that's been proven to be a reasonable thing to do. And we often end up playing against pretty packed defenses anyway. So the sort of hold-up man, how many times a game does it really count how well the ball gets held up? Maybe we should just be hitting on the break.
Chadley holds the ball up quite well.
Though, Matt, because if you remember the Stoke game at the start of the season, Kane went off. We were 2-0 up, and Chadley took on that mantelpiece of playing that furthest player forward. And I give credit to Mark Hughes for that, because he brought on a couple of subs and changed the game, and they started piling on the pressure on us. Wouldn't let us settle on the ball anywhere up the pitch, and they got their 2 goals back, and if anything they were going to score that winner. So it was quite damning having Chadley up front in that sort of game where he easily got found out.
Well, if he was carrying a mantelpiece with him, I'm not surprised he was.
I was about to say that.
Maybe a mantle, but a mantelpiece, I mean, that takes some serious going.
He was
on fire, wasn't he?
We've got a true pundit here in our midst. That's proper David Pleat material.
I think this actually ties in quite nicely to a topic that Chris Davis proposed for this was our little chat. He said, "Are we seeing a plan B with 3 at the back, or taking Dyer off, or is this a manager adapting, or players finally getting used to plan A so that plan B can be brought through?" Now, I kind of see what he's saying. We've got the players settled in plan A, so we can do a bit of work on plan B. But does that give us a chance to do some plan B work further up the field, which we weren't able to do before the Stoke game?
Possibly.
Yeah. Well, if we're able to allow Rose and Walker to move forward, because the 3 at the back, Dyer dropping back in between the 2 central defenders, if we can allow just one more player than we would with a back 4 into the midfield and then getting up further, the more players you'll have, the more combinations you'll be able to make. And as soon as you realise where that extra player is going, or where he's going to end up, I think that will create the opportunities, because if we can play with 3 at the back and somehow still provide cover, we'll see more chances, because we'll have obviously more players forward.
Well, I think that people. So I think it's a valid point to have tactical flexibility, but it's a relatively small modification to go from what we normally play to 3 or whatever you want to call it, 3-4-3, but just because, Dyer often drops in the middle of the two centre-back spread and the full-back bomb on. So, I mean, it's actually in play, we play in this formation at certain points in the game. So doing it more of the game I don't think it's any great stretch.
Our width has come from the fullbacks for most of the season. And, having, flexible central defenders, because both Jan and Alderweireld have played fullback for their country. So having players that can do that has really helped out, because then Dyer can drop back and just fill in spaces.
Well, one thing I found quite strange, though, when Poch first came, our forward, like the three behind Kane, used to interchange a lot more. Now they seem a lot more sort of firmer in place.
I think that's because tactical genius Tim Sherwood was in charge, and so basically he just told everyone to run around a bit in a sort of chaotic manner. Whereas with AVB, it was quite static again, and we all got quite frustrated actually about how AVB's team set up, because it was too static. There wasn't really enough. There wasn't any interchange at all. So I think we're somewhere sort of sensible middle ground now, where there's a bit of discipline, but people see opportunities. That's always it.
I think also earlier in the season we were starting with Lamela and Eriksson, and both of them wanted to play the number 10 role, but both could also fill out on the left, so we were switching those two players over, and the guy, whoever was out on the right, which was normally Chadley, I believe, then he would stay more in place.
But it doesn't. I mean, I think it's become apparent as the season goes on that these are just three zones across the front, or just behind the striker in this front zone. I mean, they play side by side. I don't think they play in a radically different way. They're not wingers. They're not really wing forwards. They're essentially an attacking line that presses the ball pretty flexibly across that area. And I don't think it matters that much the qualities of the individual players. Maybe their left foot, right foot makes a bit of a difference, but I don't think it matters much. But yeah, I mean, for that reason, you might expect them to change more, and they don't seem to. It's true.
But do you think
the big
would
thing
prefer to have wing forwards than what he's got? You know what I mean? Wide forwards, sorry.
I think he's fairly happy with what he's got, because he played a similar system at Southampton. With the guy who had the cruciate injury, his name I can't remember.
But he had players who scored goals, didn't he? Rodriguez and Long and Lallana. They were all players who scored goals.
Was Long there when Pochettino was there? I thought Long was purchased after he left.
Oh, was he after?
I think
they had Lallana, who was playing, in that front, in that three behind the main striker. They had Rodriguez as well, and they had Lambert up front. So, there's someone else as well who I can't remember. But again, it was playing a similar kind of system. Three players who can play behind, the front striker, who would lead the line and, nod balls on for them or hold it up. And then he'd have three strikers, three people, all of who could score goals or create goals behind him.
I think the closest thing we had to a wing forward was Andrew Townsend. And I know that Aaron Lennon didn't pose much of a goal threat, but he was also quite a wide player. So I think that Poch is not favouring wingers.
I don't mean wing forward, I mean a wide forward,
No, I know what you mean. But right,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's all shades of grey, right? I mean, then he doesn't want serious width from these players, that much is true. But they are attack-minded players. I guess I would call them wing forwards, but they don't seem to join Kane that much. They make a line of three. So that's the only thing I'd say. They're sort of more withdrawn.
And our width comes from the fullbacks,
Yeah.
basically. I'm just getting frustrated with Walker not taking on a man anymore. He's never getting to the byline and cutting back, is he?
Since injury, I think there's been a bit of a change with him, though, Marcel.
I think he's lost a tiny bit of pace.
Yeah.
I think he may have also lost a tiny bit of confidence in terms of his ability to get past people. Certainly, if you're looking at a right fullback, whatever you want, a wing back, fullback, whatever, and if you want someone who's going to whip balls across, then you're going to choose Trippier and not Walker right now.
But I thought he was defensively very solid today.
It was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people criticising him for this, but I think it makes sense for him to sort out his defensive game, become the consistent player that he needs to be, and then he can be more adventurous from there, sort of rebuild his game a bit. Because he had a couple of weeks where he was doing some pretty random things, and every so often, every few months, he goes a bit nuts and starts doing some weird stuff, and he needs to just get his act together. And he seems to be doing that now. So maybe he'll be, as you say, I don't think he's lost any pace. I'm not worried about that. But yeah, I think maybe a little bit of a Grafton is holding back a little bit.
One thing I am interested by is the forward movement, in terms of progression by our players. I think almost every single player has improved under Pochettino. Certainly the ones that have stayed with us, you can look at people like Townsend and Fazio, who very rarely featured. Lennon, when he left. But you look at the players that have left, they all seem to buy into this theory. And I think there's only one player who really has been bought by the club last summer and hasn't really done very well. And I think we can look and say, MG, he hasn't been brilliant. Then he picked up an injury and hasn't really had a chance either.
I think he's barely played. I think that's quite harsh.
He's been pretty raw when he has been given a chance. He hasn't really done that well.
Yeah, but
he had that one game against Man City where he looked very, very, very good.
One game.
And then he got injured again.
Yeah.
Any player that comes from Ligue 1, and this is one of Poch is very keen on Premier League experience, and when players don't have Premier League experience, he takes his merry time about giving them any responsibility. Yeah. I think for good reason. He's just not ready. So I don't think.
And he's still young.
Yeah, he's what, 19, 20? So
21.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was part of the thing, when we were looking to sign Dembele squared or Dembele 2, whatever you want to call him. How much of a chance was he actually going to get, even if we had signed him? Because I think Kane's going to play every single game this season unless he gets injured, regardless of whether he needs a rest or not.
Even then.
He won't play the FA Cup, I suppose, as much. As long as we're in it anyway.
Yeah. But how much looking would he actually have got?
He'd want to get one over Adebayor, wouldn't he?
I think he's done that.
So, Adebayor, is he going to score against us?
Yes.
Of course he is.
No chance.
Well, hang on. Puneet said that Lennon was not much of a goal threat, and he managed to get a goal against us. So yeah, I think. And if Sevilla is still in the League Cup, in the Europa League. If they are, and we play them, you can pretty much guarantee that Fazio will score a goal.
Soldado.
Isn't that's a loan, isn't it? A loan. Will we not have?
Fazio's a loan.
Yeah, but still, Fazio across Europe, you can't.
You can't stop someone playing against you.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
There was the Courtois thing against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Even in, I was told that it's not a rule that they can't play. It's just not in the contracts.
You can't put it in the contract that they cannot play against you.
Yeah.
In England, you can though.
Right.
In England, they can't at all. I think they can in the cups, but they can't in the league.
I'm sure I read somewhere that they can, but it's something they put in the contract for UK loans.
No, I think there was one a few seasons ago where Chelsea had a player who played against them, and everybody went, "Oh, hang on a second here. What if he scores an own goal or something?" It helps Chelsea out, and at that point, I believe the FA introduced a rule that said that you cannot play against your parent club in the league.
Okay.
So thank you, Chelsea. Again.
Yeah.
So can I just say, Tottenham in third.
Yeah. What the hell's going on? Can I just say Tottenham have the best defensive record in the league? I mean, does that just sound wrong to everyone else? I mean,
as I talk to you guys, I have the table just next to you all, and I'm just staring at it. To be honest.
As I said to Andreas, when was the last time that we were in third at this stage of the season? Can anyone remember?
We were with Harry, right?
Yeah.
Were we?
When we were
in
Arsenal in February, weren't we?
Well, this was Harry with the interest in the England job, and I think that by this point we had started, or we were starting our sort of decline.
It was that Arsenal game, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah, right.
That was when all
We were
that.
2-0 up, 2-0 up. You know, it was going to be 14 points clear, and then
Yeah.
second half, it all went downhill from there.
This is why I hate that guy.
Harry?
I hate Harry Redknapp because of this. This is a sore subject. Because to my mind, he threw that season away by
Yeah.
talking about the England job. It was the England job, England job, England job. Doing every interview under the sun that he could, so that he could be then coy about it. He was just chasing journalists.
It was all John Terry's fault as well, wasn't it? Because it was because of him, Capello left.
Right.
Another reason to dislike John Terry.
The man's an evil genius.
Yeah, he is.
I think you're giving him way too much credit.
I know.
Oh dear.
Well, I can tell you it's correct that on the 2nd of February 2012 we were in third with 49 points.
So it wasn't that long ago. Oh.
But that's 23 games. So let's see if we.
That was the whole stupid mind the gap season, wasn't it?
Mm.
It was.
How much were we ahead of Arsenal at that
Oh,
point?
what are you saying, Stuart? I can't put that on my Facebook.
Right.
Not with 2 points. You can't.
It's not 2 points. We're level on points. It's goal difference, isn't it?
What
is.
was it at the time?
We were at 24 games. We're 10 points ahead of Arsenal and 7 goals in goal difference. Just to make you all feel bad.
Jesus Christ.
Well, someone asked.
Sorry about that. I shouldn't have done. Yeah, in this case, mind the gap is 10 goal difference.
Yeah.
And we scored 2 more goals. No, actually, we scored the same amount of goals, but this season we've let in 6 less.
I have to say that I'm glad we're not depending on staying above Arsenal for a Champions League spot, because whatever you think of these bastards, they're a decent team, and they often in the run-in they often put together some decent form. Man United played quite well today, though. I'd say a bit, put in apparently a Man United-esque performance, whatever the hell that means.
They'll be there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Only 5 points, really. I think, yeah. It's all to play for.
I think with United and with any of these teams, they're all going to be hanging around, and it's just a matter of whoever puts a run together. If we have a bad run, we'll be out of there. There are going to be teams that will replace us. That's what the top 4 is all about. It's that close.
And we do have a run of tough matches at one point in the season left, where we could actually drop a few points in succession. So
I think that but it's partly about the form that we've had for a long period of time, right? I mean, if our form over over the last 12 games, let's say, would give us a better position in this. So we've been improving over the course of the season. So we're being held back by our first 5 or so games of the season. Weren't
certainly, if you look at the last 6 games of the season, we're the most informed side in the league.
Right.
I think there were like 5 points in a draw or something.
Yeah, but that sort of points per goal average, points per game average has sort of been on an up curve for the season. So it feels different. It feels like we're stronger than we were in that season we were talking about. We've got 45 points, not 49. It feels like there just seems to be a different vibe about the club.
I think there's a different mentality as well. Yeah, Europa League's going to be
up.
Yeah, it's not going to make things easy.
FA Cup. There's a lot of games coming up.
So who here thinks that we should be rotating players for the FA Cup? Some people, it seems to be a bit of a mixed bag. Should we or should we not be rotating? How serious should we take it?
I think the FA Cup's lost its magic.
I think you say that until you win it. And then when you win it,
I honestly say that.
absolutely
I'm a huge one for the Cups. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge one for the Cups. I love the Cup final days. I've been to them all for God knows how long, and I love those. I love the Cups, but I do think the FA Cup's lost its magic. When you've got teams like Leicester putting reserve teams out for the Cup, for the FA Cup, it loses it. There's no value in winning
I
the
think the
FA Cup
problem
and
is-
the League Cup.
Oh no, because all the money's in the Champions League nowadays.
Mm-hmm. And the Premier League.
It's the Premier League.
Yeah,
It's worth
it's
more
going to
than
be the
Champions
Premier
League
League.
now, isn't it?
I believe so.
On talking about form, I've got a couple of tables up here on my other screen. For the last 6 games, we're top. The last 10 games, we're second behind Leicester.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mhm. That's why it feels like we're a better team than even the third place, or the points total seems to indicate. That's
I think there's been a shift in mentality where we're actually a lot harder to beat and we don't get beaten easy. Any team that comes to us and takes the points is going to have to work for it, or get extremely lucky like Newcastle did.
So how is it that we've got such a good goal difference, but we're not higher up? So what does that mean? Did we get tonked a couple of times?
No, we drew.
Draws
Sorry,
early
we
on.
only ever. Oh yeah, okay. So we only ever
Draws.
dropped a lot of points through draws, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, can't be tonked all the way around, right?
Yeah, if we'd, well, it was the game against Leicester where we conceded straight after scoring, and if we'd kept that 2-goal lead against Stoke, we'd be top of the league now, easily.
We've just beaten Leicester.
That would we could have done with that.
That home defeat was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, people were very upset about it at the time, and obviously it takes more significance now. But you have to say, in retrospect, fair play. We were beaten. We dropped points against a very strong team, so a draw doesn't look so bad anymore.
No, you lose against a team top of the league. It's not exactly something to be too upset about, I think.
I was upset because I thought we dominated that game.
I would say too upset. I wouldn't be upset about it because I thought we were the better side. But if you look at it in isolation, it's no real shame to lose against a side that's topping the league.
Oh, it is.
Really?
They were definitely the most organised side I've seen at White Hart Lane this year, though.
Mm.
They were so well drilled, so they're not there by accident. Very,
Yeah, I mean, we
very
had-
well organised.
We had a lot of possession. We were probing, I guess, in retrospect.
We were the perfect side for them to play against because they like to counter-attack and push teams that are, going against them. We actually gave them the space by pushing up and trying to score goals ourselves, which is why I thought they would win against Liverpool tonight, because Liverpool are the same. They're going to try and push and they're going to try and make the game happen for them, leaving space at the back.
When a team's actually going to realise that you've got to play differently to Leicester, this is the whole thing that she's going to catch up with them. Teams will take them more seriously, and these teams are still not taking them seriously. Why are they still playing in the same manner, going gung ho against side that are full of energy and very well defensively organised? You've got to get teams that are going to back against them and knock 11 players behind the ball and tell them to come and break them down. Otherwise, it's going to be a 0-0. That's just not happened to them. Why not?
Because it's Leicester. Everyone keeps doing the Mark Lawrenson thing. So it's only Leicester. Let's keep tipping them to lose. It's not Leicester, is it? It's this team, this monster, whoever they are.
Yes, well, let's not take Mark Lawrenson, the guy who's never tipped a Liverpool defeat all season.
Right.
If you listen to him, they would won or drawn
shocking,
every
isn't
single game.
Yeah, and Leicester are in a
Leicester in
relegation
the bottom
battle.
three, yeah.
How is this possible? He just does not learn anything. He just picks
West
based on.
Ham and Watford are in the bottom 4 in Loroland.
He learns nothing. He's obviously he's a football dinosaur, but he seems to live in the 80s and treats the form book from the 80s as the current day.
Yeah, we were good then.
Well, okay, maybe not. Maybe the 90s.
He still thinks of Carlisle in the first.
Well, he currently has us at number 8 with 40 points.
When have we ever?
And
when
what
was the
goal
last
difference?
time we
And
came
what
eight?
goal difference?
Plus 10. And
To
he
be
has.
fair, plus 10 is still better than we normally do. Plus 10 would normally be a good goal difference for Tottenham. There's so many years we've had about +1 or +2.
Actually, he has Liverpool at 50 points with a goal difference of +21, which would put them on top of this table. Although, with his predictions, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester City would be in front of them.
Yeah. Well.
There is a site out there that actually keeps track of this stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He hedges his bets, doesn't he? Basically, those are the top 4 in his head, and that's who's going to win games.
You can understand it to a certain point, but I think he should be putting money on each and every one of his selections. If he got some skin in the game, then he might actually come up with some more realistic choices.
Yeah.
But hey.
Thing is, he doesn't seem to have learnt as the season's gone on, does he?
This season or the seasons of
no, this season, as it's gone on, he hasn't seemed to have learnt.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
and I don't think he's ever learnt, has he? He's always been like this.
He's always been like this.
I think it's difficult because it's difficult to predict an upset. So, whatever teams that are stronger teams on paper, you would tend to predict them and you would put money on them unless the odds helped you out. There are no odds here. There's no gamble here. There's no extra money to be earned to predict an upset. So he picks what seems to be the most obvious result. So I can sort of understand why he keeps picking top 4 teams to win. But there's no excuse for these predictions with Leicester. When Leicester play a mid-table team, you've got to tip them to win.
Or Liverpool. There's no reason you should be tipping Liverpool to win every game, but only drawing against Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Arsenal. So,
ironically, the games they won.
Ironically, you screwed those ones up as well.
So Klopp to be sacked?
No, Christ no.
No, I'm just kidding.
Klopp will get a few seasons. Yeah, just wait, they'll be a dangerous team next year because he'll have a pre-season with them.
Next year is definitely over.
Next year is going to be really interesting. You're going to have Klopp at Liverpool after a season, a proper pre-season. Guardiola at Manchester City, having spent a huge chunk of money. You're probably going to have a new guy in at Chelsea, which is probably going to be Pellegrini or Antonio Conte. Manchester United probably going to have Mourinho in, and then Arsene Wenger at Arsenal and Tottenham Pochettino.
Yeah, the title holders Tottenham.
Yeah.
Will Arsene Wenger still be there?
I think he needs to drop out. Arsenal needs to drop out the Champions League for him to not be kept on for another season, or he decides it's time for him to go. How is everyone feeling about last thing, guys? Before we go, because we've been doing this for an hour and a half or so.
I was about to mention that.
Yeah, it's getting late. How does everyone feel about the title chance? Do we actually think we're in with a chance of a title this year? If you give it a percentage chance, come on, Andreas, let's go with you.
Seeing as we're Spurs, 5.
Okay, so that's 5% from Andreas. Marcel?
I'd go 50%. We're in as good a shout as anyone else there.
Okay. Matt?
I'm going to go 25% just because there are 4 teams and I can't split them. So I'm just going to give them each 25.
Okay, sounds fair enough. Puneet?
I think for the title, I still think it's quite low. My justification is I think Man City are on the lowest of their form, but they're still above us. Even United have been so poor, and they're not a million miles away from us. Arsenal, I'll always worry about them, and they've got a lot of their star players coming back. They're back from injury now, so they're going to get match fit, and they're only going one way, in my opinion. With us, we're at the top of where we could possibly have been, I think. And I think on that basis, us getting a top 4, I'd put us very high percentage. But title, I think, I'd love it, obviously, but I think probably about 10%.
So there's on Manchester City's case, the defence is quite dodgy, right? And they're missing what's his name?
Company.
I don't know how long he's going to be out for.
Not far away.
But he had a week ago. He had another setback, I think.
Yeah, he's got like another 3 weeks out or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Man City have got a poor defence, and Arsenal can't finish, so they're their Achilles' heels there. And also, Panit, you say that Arsenal are only going in one direction. In the last 6 games, they're 8th in the league. So they are going one direction. It's down.
Yeah, but Sanchez is coming back now, and
So he's not that great.
Well, in terms of form, the last 4 Arsenal games, they've got 3 points, all coming from draws, and hopefully this will set a bit of doubt in their minds whether are we really as good as we were early in the season, or were we just riding a high point. Hopefully, the mentality of having 4 bad results in a row will affect them in some way. But I agree with Panit. My 5% is basically off the fact that I think there are better teams around us in terms of players anyway.
I'm going to go higher than most of you, not as high as Marcel, but I reckon we've got about a 40% chance of winning it. I don't think there's any side in the league that has the kind of togetherness that we have. I think we've probably got the second most dangerous striker in the league after Aguero. We've got goals coming from all kinds of positions in midfield, and we've got the best defence. So I think, title challenges are built on defence, and I think we're there in many cases. Can we get ahead of? Yeah, of course you can.
Can I pressure Stuart to give a percentage to the other 3 teams? Because 40 is quite high, and so is 50.
40 is quite high. I don't see.
Sounds like favourites.
I don't know. Well, it might be favourites. I don't see Leicester winning it. I'd give them a very low percentage, probably a 5% chance of winning it, even though they're in the league. I think Manchester City are going to really struggle. So I can, with their defence and the fact that they're going to lose their manager, I don't see them winning it. So I'd give them probably 10%. So that leaves Arsenal with what, 45%?
5%.
45%. So I think Arsenal probably the most likely ones to win because they've got the best all-round squad.
So Spurs need to connect with Arsenal.
Yeah, it's going to be very close, I think. It's going to be an incredibly close end of season.
Can I just justify my 50%? That was based on that any one of 4 can win it easily. So it's a flip of a coin.
So yours is 25.
It's 50-50.
That's 25.
It's 25.
Not really. It's 50-50 here. Whether we do it or someone else does it.
No, if you're giving everyone equal chance, then it's 25% each, mate.
No,
Andreas, you're quite good with spreadsheets. Sonny, can you send one through to us?
Yeah, I'll send him one later.
We'll do a spreadsheet.
But I like the fact
it's
that
not a mathematical thing. It's just like it's a flip of a coin who wins it. So
you mean 25%?
yeah, I like Marcel's reasoning. He's the reason why the lottery system still works.
Oh dear. Okay, so gents, thank you very much for staying up such a late night. It's been fun, I have to say. I will do my very best to make sure this goes up a lot quicker than the last one did, trust me. I won't be making this one private. It should be available in the morning. All right, guys?
right, okay, cheers.
All right, cheers.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
See you, everybody.
All the best, bye.